Hello, 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 and welcome to Artificial Ireland in Delhi, day two. Day two of our little trip over here. And I have to thank everybody yesterday, including all the team, including Lucas. And thanks very much for the little tour of the Taj Mahal. And we're based again here on the Yamuna River. And the Taj Mahal, crown of palaces, by the way, built by Shah Jahan. And its height is 73 metres, just in case you might need to know, and that could come up, of course, in Who Wants to Be a Millionaire or The Chase. So, just in case somebody asks you, what height is the Taj Mahal? It's 73 metres. Firstly, let me thank everybody again for bringing us. I tell you, it's unbelievable. If you ever get a chance to come over here, go and see the Taj Mahal. And when we were finished here, we went up to see the Ganges. And no, that's the worst place you can go if you're from Ireland. Never go near the Ganges again. I have to say, I've never seen water that colour before. And I won't be getting into it, tell you the truth. So the Taj Mahal was probably the spectacular point and the airport here in Delhi. So if you ever get a chance to get over here, make sure you go and see it. Now, when we were on our way around to the Ganges, the captain told me of the boat, he says, we're going to see beautiful sights, but he told me the smog was so heavy. He told me the smog was so heavy today from the airplanes that we'll probably end up not seeing nothing. And that's the reason why people jump into the Ganges, because wherever they're spraying, he says, it's still major damage. So off we went. I took a tuk-tuk up to the restaurant. Tuk-tuk up to the restaurant, about 15 minutes up the road. Near sector 32, provinces or something like that. And we went up there to this restaurant, I have to say, savage. Now, let me tell you something, right? When we got up there, we went to a restaurant called Goomers, up in section 32, the provinces. And when we went for dinner, we met the waiter, and the waiter's name was Rick. And he tells us straight away, the two of us that were sitting there from the radio station, without even hello, he said, are you the famous Paulie from YouTube? I says, yeah. He said, Nibiru Ireland, Artificial Ireland. I says, yeah. He says, was that you on Delhi FM yesterday? I said, it was, yeah. Oh, he says, you were fantastic. He says, I tried to subscribe to your channel, but was blocked. Just then, the two AI boys from Goo Goo get up off the seats and come over and says to Rick, the waiter, he said, nothing to see here, good luck. Yeah, I liked their Goo Goo glasses. They were both wearing Goo Goo glasses. But Rick went on to say, before he went, 5G would damage anything left that the villagers have. But we're going to change his name to Dave, because Dave is from Kashmir. And he said that the restaurant, Indian Gumar, also does European dishes if anybody from Ireland comes over. And he said all the spraying over the mountain is backfiring and the snow is melting. He says we haven't seen a skier for over 5 years. And then he went on to say, we used to live in an igloo, but it melted. He says global warming might backside. And then I asked him for the menu. He said the Himalayan regions are booming with tourism. And now all of a sudden, with the snow melting, the Indian Prime Minister decided to pack it in and retire. And everyone's at the leaving, the tourists were told, get out and don't come back. And next of all, the door opens. In comes the two captains, Captain one was Captain Rogers, and then this other Muppet that sits with him, which was a second in command. Now, we were sitting there, okay, for about 15 minutes, asking the usual questions, and we were talking about the Ganges and everything else. And then after about 20 minutes, I asked him about Aluminum Airways, and he says to me, don't start me off about Aluminum Airways, because the people were complaining to him in Delhi, telling him they were all fighting against each other out in the streets due to whatever was being sprayed. He says, don't start on about AA, or should I call them AI? And I stepped in straight away and say, excuse me, Captain Rogers, I'm AI, if you don't mind, Artificial Ireland. Don't get the two of them confused. He went on to tell me that he's the fourth set of crew in the last 6 months, that the rest of them died due to poisoning on the plane. And when the autopsies came back, it said that they were poisoned by food. And unfortunately, he says, we're not allowed food on the plane. So that's why this is all happening at the moment. I asked him how they died from the poison, but he wouldn't continue on. And with that, R2D2 and R1D1, the security from Goo Goo just plugged themselves in over in the corner, and their eyes just closed while they were charging. You know the funny thing about it? Yeah, it's funny how the two Goo Goo YT security guards use Apple iPhone cables. So then I decided that I had enough then, and it was time to finish off the meal, and we all went our separate ways. I went back to the hotel, and I won't even tell you, it shouldn't even be called a hotel, because everybody had to sleep outside the hotel on these mats, the Alibaba mats, I call them, because I was waiting on this thing to take off, and Aladdin to turn up. Anyway, we went, headed to the airport, and it's the 8th biggest airport in the world. If you ever get a chance, go and check it out. And listen, what we're going to do is I'm going to continue this conversation on, because I have to check in a few minutes, and hopefully when I'm on the plane I can use my handheld microphone that I have, and we'll continue on. Now, what Captain Rogers did say was that he indeed tried to put up YT videos himself all about of the spraying of the plane, but his colleague told him that they can't do that due to the 3-month contract that they signed. And everyone else that has piloted the same plane that's took us here in the first place unfortunately passed away due to one of the guys, he says, tried to switch on one of the taps of the canisters and the whole thing exploded. Now, seemingly, they also mentioned something about Malaysian Airways, but we can't speak about that in great detail. They did mention the name of the particular plane that went missing, and of course, that particular plane turned out that it was full of canisters. Now, it's up to you to find out exactly what the canisters was. So, here we are arriving at the airport, and I have to say, spectacular is not the word. So before I go, I want to thank everybody here in Delhi, and I want to eventually thank everybody, Paulie, all the dancers yesterday, the band that was there, and they were actually called the Ganges. The Ganges, I couldn't believe it when they were told to come up to me at the end, and they come up and introduce themselves, and they says, we're the Ganges from Delhi. So I said, right, well, you should have told me that when you started. And the Bollywood dancers, if I could take them back to Dublin with me today, I would. But in the meantime, I have to thank everybody for introducing me to all these artificial lines in the sky over there. And they all speak about it like it's just everyday, everyday stuff walking down the street. By the way, bring a good credit card with you if you come into this airport. Now, hopefully, I'll get to do a little report from the plane. Captain Rogers says that he'd give me permission once we kept it off the record. So, I don't know how I'm going to do that. But this plane is going to be taking off in about 40 minutes. We have to go over here into a special room in a few minutes. We're going to board, and I'll put all my recording equipment away, put it into the suitcase, take it through. There's no authorities in there checking anything, which is great, because this is all governmental, and we just keep our heads down, walk straight in onto the plane, and it's all we go. So hopefully, ladies and gents, you enjoyed the second part of our little trip over to Delhi. And today we done all about the artificial lines in the sky and people going around getting sick left, right and centre. In fact, one person says they're falling like flies and they blame the weather. Now, that was used, and someone overheard me speaking last night to Rick, the waiter, and came over to me and says that they were from the UK and that they were living over there in Delhi for 5 years. One of them was an engineer. And next of all, he told me, he says, we understand all about these white lines in the sky. Over here in Delhi, they call them by their right name. And I says, well, what's the name they call them? Chemtrails. I says, Jesus, it's unbelievable what you learn over here on a daily basis. And I went on to tell him that it's mad because I'm going back on a flight called Aluminium or Aluminum Airways, it's unbelievable. But you couldn't actually script it. So hopefully when we get back to Dublin on Monday, we're going to be disappearing for a couple of days. And as I said, this has been hard work coming all the way over here to Delhi. It's going to take us 2 hours to get back to Dublin. They said they might have to do a little detour and fly over most of the big cities, depending on the amount of that they have on board the plane. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, yeah? So whatever they have, whatever amount they have, they said they have a full load. So they're going to fly up now from India, straight across Europe, and then do all the main cities then. They said something about the weather's changing now, and the autumn is on the way, so that they have to try and create. They're working off these weather canisters, not the usual ones that create the Alzheimer's and dementia. So they're using the weather ones now that bring in this thing called autumn. And they said when that sprays, that lands on all the leaves and kills the leaves. And then the leaves go brown, fall off the trees, and that the humans down on the planet, down on the ground, call it autumn. I thought, you know something, this is fantastic. And before I go, I have to much appreciate it to our friends over in Silicon Valley. And I have to say, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. So I bought myself out of 40,000 a new Rolex watch. Yeah, top of the range. And it cost me $13,000. So I bought that through eBay, and I used the PayPal account that they put the money in, and I had to thank them again. And I'd advise everybody out there that would always worry about setting up a channel that they should do it, because you learn after 3 years that it's a hard process. You have to travel to places like India, and you have to go up to the moon and maybe travel across to Mars, depending on how much fuel you have. And if you get to these places successfully, and you get to explain about the moon and Mars and the all the things that they don't want you to know, you'll eventually get up to a certain level, like Donkey Kong from the 1980s. You know the way Donkey Kong throws the barrels down, and you have to avoid the barrels to try and climb up to the very top to rescue the princess. Well, that's what it's like. And ladies and gents, I just got up to the top, and I'm on to level 2 now. It's a little bit harder, but I've worked it out because I can clear Donkey Kong going back to the 1980s, which is going to be a little bit of help. So I hope that I can do a little bit of talking on the plane. If it's too loud, we'll wait until I get back to Dublin. And as I said, when I land, I'm due a little holiday, because I've given you so much information here that I have to go back and recharge my batteries, go to the man above and speak to him and ask him what's the next move, what's the next step, and what do I need to give the humans in this struggle, the struggle against AI versus humanity. And remember, ladies and gents, if humanity doesn't stand up against AI, AI will take over humanity. It's as simple as that, unless you're stupid. So if you haven't learned anything this week, well, get off the channel, click the down button, and then off you go, and go off and make some fairy cakes. Love yous and leave yous, and enjoy your weekend. See yous.